Hello, hello, hello. I'm back again. Your main, the real Bill Real. Now, I'm pretty sure that you have taken in all of today's action, twists and turns, bad jokes and all. But I wanted to go back to the intro, the special statement that was given by attorney Benjamin Crump, Sabrina Fulton, and Tracy Martin. I'd like to point out a few things for you, and I'd like for you to begin to understand who these people are, who this guy is, who she is, and who he is. So, let me just get into the video.
We're here to make a brief statement.
All right, we're here to make a brief statement. What this is saying is we want you to remember that this is about a tour of tears. So I need everybody to pay attention to the victim right here. She wants everybody to believe that this is the victim. When in reality, she's a bad parent and he's an absentee parent who most likely encouraged some of this violent behavior from his gang days. Yeah, they forgot to tell you he's a gang member, former gang member, but whatever. So he has been put up by the powers that be from Masons on high to create this racial divide. So he wants you to understand that, and this is also the reason why I say that there's no way possible that George Zimmerman can win. It's because he has so much money on his side. He has so much secret societies on his side, so much pull on his side. Because he is a Shriner Freemason. He is a Prince Hall Freemason. So everybody involved, including Mark O'Mara, they're all really working to sink George Zimmerman. Now, I know that me saying that is shocking to most people, but as the days go on, you'll begin to see some of the things that I'm going to point out to you. But let me stop, and I'm going to let him say some things, and I'll fill in as needed.
As we formally begin trial today, a murder trial is a very emotional matter.
It was never supposed to be a murder trial because there wasn't enough proof and evidence to bring about an arrest. Sereno didn't want to arrest him. The sheriff didn't want to arrest him. Nobody wanted to arrest him. But you and her wanted an arrest. Also, Natalie Jackson, who's not pictured here, wanted an arrest so that you can get the civil part of the trial going. So this is all a part of the civil trial. Let's go.
That Trayvon's parents understand that the jury will have to hear all of the evidence.
And all of the evidence means evidence that they're going to make up, evidence that they've withheld. Remember, it's impossible to win a debate with someone who can create new evidence every minute. And that's what the defense is up against. Liars who have no conscience, who will stop at nothing to prove their point that their defenseless little baby was run down and shot because George Zimmerman just hated black folks. That's what this whole entire trial is about, which is nonsense. If you really had your thinking cap on, you would be able to see clean through it. But let Mr. Crump continue to tell you his reasons as to why they're making a statement.
to base their verdict on that evidence. We think that this is a simple case.
Yeah, he thinks it's a simple racial case. It's all about racism. It's all about this one guy who just didn't like any of the black people there. But what he is failing to realize and will never bring up to you is the fact that this place had been invaded by Negroes, by out of control, in their female mother's mind acting males, breaking into places, breaking into cars. Come on. This is what you get when you allow a single black female to raise the male. He grows up undisciplined. He grows up wild. He fights all the time. He's greedy. He steals from other people. He's covetous. But she has put your evil self up, and so has Tracy, to cover and make all of us think that it's perfectly normal for a kid to walk around with a hoodie on in a gated community and not be subject to anybody questioning him, with a rash of burglaries going on and lots of crime. You want everybody to believe that it was old George Zimmerman picking a fight with this kid. This is what your testimony is all about.
There are two important facts in this case.
The two important facts in the case are the fact that Trayvon Martin could have run home but did not. The other fact in the case is that he was beating up George Zimmerman, even if George Zimmerman had approached him or not. This is the reason why the kid was shot. He wants you to believe that it was George Zimmerman was a grown-up with a gun. That's the problem. That's not a problem. That's not against the law for a man to have a gun for self-defense against thugs, in which he had to end up using the gun against, and also dogs, which is what he actually purchased the gun for. But let's listen to this weasel tell you what's important, which are lies. Let's go.
Number one, George Zimmerman was a grown man with a gun.
Now, how is that against the law? Do you notice the facial expression that he's making? He's lying to you, and he knows he's lying, and his facial expression even shows it. Look at how his lips are going. But he's a compulsive liar. He can't help it. This is the profession that he's chosen, and he's going to burn in hell for all the lies that he's told. Let's go. Let's find out what his other reason is, which we just totally shredded that first one. Let's go to the next one.
And number two, Trayvon Martin was a minor.
Okay. Who gives a crap if he was a minor? If he was 14 years old wielding a gun in front of you, does it matter that he's a minor before he pulls the trigger and blow your brains out? No. Does it matter if he's 15? Okay, now, well, he's 15. Now, he can't break into my house now. No, his arms aren't working because he just magically turned 15. That rendered him obsolete. That rendered him a vegetable, right? That's what he wants you to think. And that's what a typical Trayvon supporter thinks. He had a gun. He was a minor. Well, that don't make sense. Somebody was outnumbered. It wasn't fair. Come on, dude. This is what he was supposed to be doing. Guarding against thugs that you're defending. But let's go. Let's find out what he has to say. Let's go.
Who had no blood on his hands.
All right. This is total bullcrap. He says that he had no blood on his hands, just as Don West brought up today in trial. When he was found face down, grasping at his heart. Now, he had been shot in the heart. If you get shot in the heart, what's going to happen? You're going to bleed. So there was blood on his hands. And we can't believe the funeral director, who's a Mason too, when he lied and said that there were no injuries on him that would have suggested that he had been in a fight. He just conveniently forgot to leave out the left abrasion, the abrasion on his left finger. Okay, but he told you one time that there was no bruises on his fingers. So I wouldn't even believe that it was just one abrasion. I'd be willing to bet that he probably has several cuts on his fingers that are just not being reported. And I believe the biggest reason why he didn't have any blood on his hands, and I like to give credit to Poker Face Todd on here for bringing up the point that I believe he was battering George Zimmerman with that doggone can of watermelon Arizona tea that you claim was so innocent that he couldn't have killed him with some Arizona tea and some Skittles. Wrong, buddy. You actually can kill somebody with a can of tea. Let me take a can of tea, let me put it in a bag, let me swing it at you, and let me hit you a couple of times upside the head. And let's see what happens to you, Mr. Benjamin Crump. Let's see if I'll have any blood on my hands after I swing this and hit you and bust your nose up and hit you in the back of the head or hit you on the forehead and leave you unconscious and have you screaming out like a little girl. How would you like that? Would it show that I was not guilty because I didn't have any blood on my hands after bloodying you up with a can? Let's go.
Literally, no blood on his hands. There was none of.
Literally, no blood on his hands. Yeah, because the funeral director conveniently forgot to tell you that he found blood on his hands. But let's go.
George Zimmerman's DNA found on Trayvon Martin's hands or underneath his fingernails.
Okay, so if there is no DNA from George Zimmerman under Trayvon Martin's nails at all, that is more proof to let you know that he was most likely battering George Zimmerman with the can. Also, you can hit someone and your DNA doesn't, it's not automatically going to be on that other person. Okay, so you already know that too. But you're trying to fool the ignorant Trayvon Martin supporters who don't know any better.
We believe that the evidence is overwhelming.
We believe that the evidence is overwhelming. It was so overwhelming that Sereno didn't want to arrest him and the chief didn't want to arrest him. And we didn't get an arrest until you had Big Mouth Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson on television holding rallies talk about no justice, no peace, stirring up all of the stupid black people. And then you had to go get a special prosecutor to go bring charges against him after she held a little prayer with the family. Totally unethical. You know it, and everybody involved with this case knows it. Then you were able to bring charges. It's totally ridiculous. It's a farce. But let's go.
To hold George Zimmerman accountable for killing Trayvon Martin.
All right. He wants the state to hold George Zimmerman accountable for doing what he should have done, which is shooting somebody who had him in a life or death situation. So you're saying that if somebody jumps you in the parking lot of the courthouse and they starts beating you up, you want to be held liable for taking out the gun that you have on your possession, Mr. Crump, and shooting them for protecting yourself. You want somebody to come after you. That's what you're really saying. This is what he's saying to you guys. Let's go.
As these former proceedings began, that Tracy and Sabrina over the last year and a half have fought so hard to get to, we understand that now it is time for the jury to do their duty and base the verdict and their decision on the evidence, the instructions of the court, and the law.
Total bull. He's in a bad position because all of the jurors will naturally side with her. Women stick together. I don't know why.